Can we move to Professor to Peter van Oevelen, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Okay, hopefully this works.
I hope so.
Yes, thank you. So, hello everyone. Nice to be here. It's quite early for me, so if I'm not that clear, blame it on my sleep deprivation. I'm going to talk a little bit about process studies, in particular regional climate process studies in high mountain regions under the umbrella of the Global Energy and Water Exchanges Project as part of the World Climate Research Program. And to give a quick little background, the Global Energy and Water Exchanges Project is a core project of the World Climate Research Program that facilitates, enables, and coordinates international climate and related research activities with an emphasis, but not exclusively, on atmosphere processes and interaction. And we include there subsurface processes related to hydrology, as well as atmospheric processes, including the interaction between the troposphere and the stratosphere. We also try to support the development of global and regional observational networks and data sets, modeling activities and process studies.
Peter, sorry, yes. We see just half of your slides.
Just half of my slide. Oh, that's okay. Let me go back out. And
okay, now we see them. Okay.
Oh, now you see them? Okay. Oh, this is kind of weird. Because I see him, I see him now not as great. Let's see how we go. So we support development of internet. Let me quickly. Now I have an issue here on this end. I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment and go back. My apologies. Okay.
Now we see your picture.
Okay. I'm gonna share my desktop. Hopefully this is clearer. Do you see now the entire?
We do just see your picture.
Oh, gosh.
You have to share your screen.
Yeah, I did already, but let's try this again.
Okay, now we see your screen.
Okay, do you see the entire sheet or do you see my screen?
We see the first slide.
Oh, the first slide.
Yeah,
the
second
okay.
One, yeah, the first one with the first one outside the title.
Okay, yes, this is going right. Okay, great. Okay. Thank you. Good. So as I was saying, going quickly back, we support the development of global and regional observational networks and data sets, modeling activities, and process studies with the aim to improve our understanding of the US system and advance our predictive capabilities and capacities for sustainable and habitable Earth. In that, GWEX has three core sort of areas: process studies, observational networks, and assessments and stewardships. And we do that, of course, not alone. We do that with the partners within the World Climate Research Program, as well as beyond, because as a core project of the World Climate Research Program, we focus primarily on the geophysical aspects. And of course, that is not sufficient to tackle the problem of climate change. We have 4 panels that cover sort of our entire area of work. And I'm going to sort of emphasize why we think process studies are so important. The understanding of the fundamental processes of the Earth system, including the human dimension, which is key, is important for sustainable stewardship of our environment and our Earth's resources. To understand means that we can tackle actually the challenges of climate change, and that's where it starts. Process studies are hence needed at all scales, from local, basically meters or even less, to regional, kilometer scale to global. And it starts with observations and modeling from past to present in order to look at what that brings for the future, possible future. High mountain environments in particular are one of the most difficult regions to study and are still under-observed and poorly understood. High mountain regions also provide water and other resources for the majority of Earth's population. And high mountain regions also act as barriers that can both bridge as well as connect and separate. We need to move away from variable-centric approaches and move towards process-centric ones in order to really understand our system. And that's going to be quite a shift, I think, in the way we look at our system. If we then take the global view first, and I'll take just the major ocean currents as a starting point, you can see how the continents basically influence our ocean current patterns. If we then start to look at more the global winds, go upwards, and we go at 12 kilometers high, roughly, you can see that the circulation of the winds is hardly affected by what's beneath it. But if we slowly start zooming down, we start seeing a different picture. And if we look at the global winds at the surface, we can start to see that in particular the mountain regions starting to have a very strong effect on how these circulation is affected. And if we zoom in further, and I take South America here as an example, we see how the Andes functions both here as the barrier and as a bridge. It separates east and west. At the same time, it's linking the north and the south. We can also see more directly or clearly the interplay of surface processes in the atmosphere, and the local effects hence can couple to large-scale processes. And it is important for us to understand how these couplings occur and what that means for instance, feedbacks. And some of the other presenters already alluded to that. This we can illustrate a little bit better if we look at the cross-section from west to east over the northern part of South America. And that's shown here, where this figure illustrates how the Andes plays a critical role in both the vertical, for example, convection, as well as horizontal, for instance, low-level jets, processes, and how these local phenomena, such as thunderstorms, can link surface to higher atmosphere. And by the way, they can get easily to that over 10 kilometers, and how that affects basically large-scale circulation. Similar interactions take place in other high mountain regions. And additionally to these interactions, the mountain regions are also important with respect, for example, to the monsoons, the strong prevailing winds that change with the seasons. And we show that in this picture. Within WCAP, we now, by the way, have a specific new working group looking at monsoons. The interplay with the mountain regions of the world is key to water resources of basically these regions, and it affects both the environment and the livelihood of billions of people. In order to tackle the observational and modeling challenges linking regional activities to the global efforts, GWEX has established what is called regional hydroclimate projects. And in this figure, you can see the various active projects in sort of blue circles and the planned ones in purple. And as you can also see, of course, they link very well with some of the activities of, for instance, MRI. And we're also looking here in how these activities can be connected. So we're not looking at these projects as independent projects that are completely separated from each other. No, we really want to make sure that they're connected. And for that, we have also different cross-cutting activities that look more at a specific phenomena, such as, for instance, the evolution of the boundary layer, floods, or evapotranspiration, irrigation, etc. And we try to see how these phenomena at the local scale can be better understood and be put in both a local and regional as well as a global context. It also in this figure, for clarity, I sort of projected the Cordex regional areas to show how the regional modeling efforts can be linked to these efforts as well. In addition, we support the development and continuation of global observational networks. And since we're looking more at land-atmosphere interactions, we have started a new initiative called the GWEX Glass Land Atmosphere Feedback Observatories, GLAFOs. And these GLAFOs simply put, are sort of like a 3D MRI of our atmosphere, of our Earth. And we try to establish these observatories around the world. And we basically do that by trying to consistently expand existing observatories already and enhance the capabilities and make sure that these observations are consistent. I think that's the key element here that Oksana already alluded to as well, is that if you want to have good quality data, it has to be also consistent and it has to be globally comparable. So that's what we're working on as well. To start summarizing, the key objectives for us in high mountain regions are to strengthen regional scientific networks, basically connecting scientists and practitioners, engage in climate applications and policy communities in translating state-of-the-art scientific knowledge, stewardship and improvement of observational networks and monitoring programs, transfer state-of-the-art scientific knowledge to applications and policy. And we do this basically in conjunction with other organizations. This is not something that we ourselves really do. We basically provide the fundamental data and information, and we rely on other organizations to make that translation. We also try to improve understanding of regional weather, climate variability and change, and improve climate predictions at weather and hydrological scales, in particular the forecasting aspect. And for that, we need to go towards high resolution modeling. And in high mountain regions, that means a lot smaller than 4 kilometers, because the complex terrain, in particular steep complex terrain, has a very strong effect, and you cannot capture that when you're at 10 kilometer or higher scales. Observation in high mountains. We try to improve observations and observational networks, and they're paramount in improving our knowledge. Models and predictions for processing in complex terrain and linking global and regional phenomena, as I already shown. Data sharing and open access is also very important because it increases our capacity and capabilities, and it fosters collaboration. Linking global initiatives is important. I think the previous speaker also alluded to that. Integrating local and indigenous knowledge supports broad understanding and wider applicability of climate information. And a key message I want to sort of leave is that sustainable development needs robust knowledge, long-term support and smart investments. The lack of key observations, in particular in high mountain regions, hinders a comprehensive understanding of hydroclimate processes, and that has implications and can lead to maladaptive policy and investment. Predictions in high mountains terrain suffers from large uncertainties still, and they can only be tackled through better understanding. And in order to do that, we need still better observations, sustained observations. And with that, we can actually improve our models and get more appropriate models. And so, in short, continued strong need for process studies and improved observations in mountainous regions to support sustainable development is still needed. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you.